Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dhanush channel. So from today I'm going to start the current affairs that is important for UPSC. Now this is going to be useful for UPSC Civil Services Examination 2026, and it is also going to be useful for the mains, those who are writing, and we have a good track record of many questions appearing in the prelims from our discussion. So today it is September 22nd, Monday. So from today, what I will be doing is I will be giving current affairs from the Hindu newspaper that are exclusively important for UPSC prelims. Many students have been asking, sir, how to make a note of current affairs. So just follow our ASTRA series. This is going to be our revival of ASTRA series. So we are going to make this again, where I am going to take Hindu newspaper. We are going to take the screenshots of that, and I am going to discuss what are the important components that is important for prelims as well as for mains. Right, whatever I say here, what you can do, you can just go to our Telegram channel. You can download the screenshots. No need to write everything. Just download the screenshots. Already whatever is important, we have highlighted that component. You just whenever you find time, go through that photographs. That should be your work for current affairs. So welcome to ASTRA series, the current affairs for Union Public Service Commission, Civil Services Examination, prelims as well as mains. So those who are writing prelims in the upcoming years, this will be really helpful for you. Please follow this for your regular current affairs. Daily we are going to do from today. So please allow me to share the screen. So today it is a thing. 22nd of September 2025. So what do we have here? The problem with low inflation. So recently, CPI retail inflation has been consistently falling in the country, and this is some major boost for the country because last year at the same period of time, at the same point of time, what we have observed is that inflation levels are very, very high in the country, but this time the inflation levels have been subduedly falling. So if you look at the financial year 25, so slowly the inflation has started coming down, right? Now the problem with low inflation, now we all know that when inflation is very high, it is dangerous. When inflation is very low, it is also dangerous. If inflation is below 2%, then that is going to weaken the demand, and this is going to reduce the production, which is going to impact the so-called unemployment rate. So in this context, we should know these things. One is unemployment versus inflation relation according to Phillips curve. That is important for UPSC prelims. Now second thing that they can ask is, they will not ask much about inflation, just we should know which inflation we are targeting in the country. The inflation that we are targeting in the country is CPI All India inflation. So CPI All India inflation has to be between 2 to 6%, that is 4 plus or minus 2% according to the Government of India. And CPI All India inflation is up to 2.07, which means near to 2% in August. So in September, we think that this is going to further decrease because of the GST 2.0 reforms. So this is first thing, please know about CPI inflation. Right. Next, wholesale price index, however, is a bit up compared to the so-called CPI, but in India we are calculating, or we are targeting CPI All India. Next one is, inflation is very, very important because inflation is going to determine your growth rate. Inflation is going to determine your progress of the country, because nominal versus real GDP is nothing but real GDP is equal to nominal GDP plus or minus inflation. As a result, what we should know is inflations in the base year is going to create a great impact over a period of time. Then it is going to have a greater measure. So this is important. So what we have to understand, CPI All India inflation, how this is going to create base effect, and how it is going to impact the growth rate. So real GDP, if the inflation is very low, this is going to improve the GDP parameters. However, the problem is when inflation is low, according to Phillips curve, there will be less demand. When the demand is less, production will start coming down. When the production is coming down, unemployment starts increasing. So that is the thing, right? These two things we have to understand about inflation. So this is one of the most important thing. This year we can expect inflation related question. Can timelines be fixed for governors in the polity component? This is important. So recently the Supreme Court of India has said that according to Article 200, when the governors are asked to give the assent to the bills, unfortunately there was no time period. So recently the courts have said that there has to be a timeline for the governors to decide on the bill, right? So can timelines be fixed for the governors? This is the thing. So Article 200 of the Constitution is important because it has given 4 alternatives. Whenever a bill is sent to the governor, he has 4 alternatives. He can give assent to the bill, he can withhold the assent to the bill, that is rejecting the bill, or he may return to the bill for reconsideration into the state legislature, or he may reserve the bill for the consideration of the president. So there are 4 alternatives. First one is he can give assent, he may delay this. Third one is he may return it, he may reserve for the President of India. So this is a thing that we have. But what Supreme Court of India currently said is, Supreme Court of India has sought the opinion of Supreme Court of India has said that according to Article 200 and 201 of the Constitution, governor has to give the assent to the bill or has to take the decision within a period of time. But now this is saying that whether we can do this as possibility or not. So this article discusses about that component, whether we can do it or not. One thing that we have to note is, according to Article 163, Clause 1 of Indian Constitution, the governors of a state has to act in the aid and advice of Council of Ministers headed by the Chief Minister. When the state legislature is passing a bill, if the governor is holding his discretionary powers and indiscriminately or indefinitely, that is going to challenge the democratic process of the state legislatures. This is one thing which is trouble here. So the Supreme Court of India has said you have to give the assent as early as possible. This is what Supreme Court said recently. However, even if you look at some commissions like Sarkaria Commission, Sarkaria Commission also said that if a governor is keeping or President of India is keeping the bill indefinitely under his guidance or under his pocket, this is going to be antithetical to democracy. So considering all this, this topic is very important for prelims as well as for mains. We can expect some mains questions on this. So just remember Article 200, Article 201, Article 163, and then Sarkaria Commission. These are the things that is important for prelims as well as for mains. We'll discuss this in detail through a separate topic altogether. Now recently, Saudi Arabia is vying for soft power in Syria using investments and other aid. So this is international relations component. Just we have to look at Saudi Arabia region, Syria region, and recently we have seen that Saudi Arabia and Pakistan pact was also formed. So what is the news here? Saudi Arabia has pledged to rebuild the schools, hospitals, bakeries in Syria. It is to remove the rubble from the cities and provide almost 1.65 billion barrels of crude oil for generating electricity. So this is all humanitarian aid that Saudi Arabia is planning in Syria. Now this is to ensure that there is soft power dominance of Saudi Arabia in Syria, right? So it aligned on issues related to Lebanon, Hezbollah, Iran, says experts. So more or less Saudi Arabia is again trying to consolidate its power in the West Asia. This is one thing that we have to look at, and Saudi Arabia's progress towards West Asia is something which is changing dynamics of West Asia altogether. So the Arab countries are coming together in order to show their solidarity with each other. So we have to wait and watch how it is going to turn out. But for international relations, this is one thing that we have to remember. There is realignment in the so-called political process of West Asia, as Saudi Arabia is consolidating its power and Saudi Arabia is trying to align its policies in respect to the interests of Hezbollah, interests of Iran, interests of Lebanon. So let's wait and see how it is going to turn out in West Asia altogether. Now, Mr. Trump has claimed yet again to have stopped India-Pakistani war. So this is speaking about the so-called, almost he has repeated 40 times that he is the one who has stopped Operation Sindoor and who has been the major role in stopping Indo-Pakistan war that emerged after Pahalgam terror attack, right? So he also claimed that he has stopped many wars. So almost 60% of them were stopped due to the so-called US president's intervention. Particularly, he says that trade has been one of the most important parameter in stopping this war. So economic sanctions have been a pivotal or playing a pivotal role in these times. So, however, India has consistently denied this, but Mr. Trump is not denying it. So, Mr. Trump over and over, he is again saying these things. That is one thing we have to observe. So, India, Pakistan, Thailand, Cambodia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Kosovo, Serbia, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, Rwanda and the Congo. So if you look at this, he is saying that he has stopped all these wars between India and Pakistan, Thailand and Cambodia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, Kosovo and Serbia, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, Rwanda and Congo. All these states are important for our prelims. We have to look at prelims component only. Just have a look at the map pointing of all these things. This is going to be important. So this is the thing that I said, whatever we have discussed that is important. Can timelines be fixed for governors? You can just go through it, download it, and important components we have already underlined here. Next, the age of Indian leaders has steadily risen. So this is about the so-called GS paper 2 role of the profile of the legislators in the country. And this is also important for PSIR. The age profile of Lok Sabha has shifted markedly over the decades, with 18th Lok Sabha being the oldest yet. So if you compare on an average the total number of MPs and their average age, before 1960 it was somewhere around 45 to 50. Slowly today 18th Lok Sabha is reaching somewhere around 55 to 60. So this is the thing that we see. So they have defined a term here that is important. Gerontocracy, commonly defined as a rule by a group of old men or a council of elders, has become an important theme in the global discourse of democracy. So this is important. Gerontocracy. Geriatrics means senior citizens, right? Gerontocracy means rule by the senior citizens. So the trend of elderly leaders dominating politics, whether through democratic elections or authoritarian rule, is hardly new, which means this is very, very common. It was a defining feature of governance in Greek city-states, in Roman Senate, where advancing age was closely associated with wisdom and experience, creating a form of traditional authority and legitimized the rule of the old. So normally it is considered that the more you have the age, the more the experience, the more will be the governance capacity. So this is how it is seen. And if you look at 18th Lok Sabha, this is the oldest. So the average age of parliamentarians in the year 1952 was 46.5. Now it has increased to 56 in 2014. Now it is somewhere around, again it is increased to 2014 it was 56, right? So again if you look at this, it has merely increased substantially somewhere around 60 in the 18th Lok Sabha. So this you can write it as GS paper for some case studies. You can write it in good governance themes also, or governance issues also. Uranium unrest, this is important. Why this is important? For prelims, again this is important, and GS paper 3 it is important. Uranium is a major mineral, so central government will have the authority to extract these minerals. So this is prelims component. Now prelims, again we have one more thing. Recently uranium mines were found, and government of India is trying to revive this or to extract this uranium from Meghalaya. So this is important. So government of India is trying to explore and extract large deposits of at Domiasiat and Wakaji. So this is important. Domiasiat and Wakaji are uranium deposits in the country. So we are trying to take it out in the so-called in the state of Meghalaya, and here we have Kashi group of tribes, that is also important. So Kashi Hill Autonomous District Council has to give permission in order to extract this. So this is one thing. So tribal communities have been facing the problems because of the extraction of these minerals, but they are not getting proper rehabilitation, and they were facing some problems in this exploration and exploitation. So this is one problem that country is facing. As a result, what they are asking, we require certain measures in order to protect it, right? So uranium mining is highly polluting, and it can irreversibly alter the landscapes. This is why free, prior and informed consent is very, very necessary. So this is important for prelims. Kashi Hills Autonomous District 6th schedule is important. Along with this, the so-called Domia Siat and Wakkaji is important. Next, H1B visas. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one rocking thing that has spread recently. So, the President of United States, Mr. Trump, has announced that all the H1B visas has to be renewed, or the charges that were applied on H1B visas has been increased to $100,000, which means $1 lakh, right? Currently, it was somewhere around $10,000. He has increased it to $1 lakh. So this is one of the most irritant again in the US-India trade relationships we have seen recently. If you look at India-US relationship, there has been increase in the tariffs of around 40% extra tariff, 50% extra tariffs was kept. But as India was not concealing, or as India was not listening to the so-called Mr. Trump's directions, so Mr. Trump went a step ahead and he has announced that uh, uh, visas are going to cost almost $100,000. Right. Now, one thing that we have to observe is, now what is this H1B visas? These are the visas issued for the so-called the skilled workers. When the companies are hiring the skilled workers and they are taking to the so-called US to work in their companies, they have to take this visa. For that, they have to pay the charge. So earlier, the companies used to pay this, but because of the hike rise or price rise in these visas, majority of the Indian nationals are going to suffer. Because if you look at this H1B visa, Indian nationals typically account for 71% of these visas, right? So majority of them are Indians, followed by Chinese. So one of the impact it is going to be is it is going to hit the total number of high skilled migrants from India to US. So this is one thing that we have to ensure. The fallout for Indian citizens can be contained if there is a proactive approach by the government to bolster India's infrastructure and undertake necessary reforms to improve the prospects for the Indian technological industry to make even greater strides that it has done so far. So though there are challenges, one positive optimism that we can expect in this entire fiasco is Government of India can ensure that there is proper infrastructure for IT industry and they can revive this industry altogether. So this might be achieved by capitalizing on opportunities to develop new capabilities in the artificial intelligence space, exploring new markets across Asia, including China and Russia. So this is the time that we should not dependent on the so-called US jobs. We have to have our own self-reliance. This is what this article is speaking about. Right. The same article yesterday again, US has uh, cleared some clarifications or gave some clarifications on this, saying that every year, earlier they announced that it is for every year, but yesterday they said that one-time payment is the fees is one lakh dollars, not every year, for one time. So this is going to be included for this. So this is going to reduce some fears among NRIs, right? So this is one positive thing. At least they said that this is only for one time, not every year. Earlier they said that it is for every year, but as there is huge resentment across this, US president has announced again that it is only for one time payment. So amidst these challenges that US is creating us, Government of India is very resilient, and Prime Minister Mr. Modi has addressed the country yesterday at 5 o'clock, where Prime Minister has unveiled a set of optimism in the country. And from today, that is September 22nd, we had GST 2.0 reforms, Festival of Savings, right? So, Bachat Utsav. So, we are going to save due to this GST. So, I'll be making a separate video on GST 2.0 reforms. But what Mr. Modi has been pointing out is when the circumstances are very, very tough, it is for the Indians to have that resilience and to withstand it. We have to make India Swadeshi. We should not be reliant on majority of the imports. We have to be locally dependent. So if we are developing, then it gives a boost to the country. So his government, Nagarik Devo Bhava, citizen is akin to God, attitude is public policy. So the attitude of the people should be in such a way that what we have to do is we have to ensure that Swadeshi should be the most important segment for our development. Prime Minister also has reiterated that in the last 11 years, almost 25 crores of people were brought out of poverty. So these things Mr. Modi has commented. So GST 2.4 reforms is termed as festival of savings. Hence GST will be a definite question in prelims as well as mains that I'll be making a separate video. So two mains questions. One is governance timeline. The second one is GST reforms we can expect. And a big blow to the Israel has come recently because Palestinian state recognized by United Kingdoms, Australia and Canada. It marks a seismic shift for the West. So recently Israel has been committing its atrocities and the atrocities are unlimited. Israel is not listening to any state. In retaliation to this, the West has come, the European powers have come and they have decided to recognize Palestine. Particularly Britain, Australia and Canada on Sunday recognized Palestinian state, which is a seismic shift in decades of Western foreign policy, triggering swift Israeli anger. So Portuguese were also to recognize Palestinian state later on Sunday. So 4 states have recognized: UK, Australia, Canada, Portuguese. Britain and Canada became the first G7 countries to take this step. Now, one thing that we have to understand is UK has played a pivotal role in 1917 through Balfour Declaration when the State of Israel was created. So Israel got its statehood through Balfour Declaration in 1917 and UK has supported it. Unfortunately, still that time, Palestinians were not recognized as a separate state. So Palestinians were demanding that we should be recognized as a separate state. So recently, this was for the first time that the Western countries, particularly the European countries, decided to recognize Palestina as a separate statehood. What is India's stand then? India is the first country to recognize Palestine as a separate state. So India recognized two-state solution is the only solution for Israel-Palestine long back. Now, when we give the so-called separate statehood, what is it going to have? Now, Israel cannot go and attack as it likes. So recognition is not just symbolic. It sends a very clear message to the Israelis that they cannot occupy this land forever. So this is one great thing that we have to observe. So more details can be coming here. This is important for PSIR students. GS paper 2, sometimes they will ask, but PSIR it is important. So recently we have seen that Nepal has went into the so-called revolution by the Genji and a new government was formed. Right. So in order to help Nepalis, the interim government of Nepal is led by Sushila Karki. Now India has assured that we are going to help in rebuilding of damaged infrastructure. So India on Sunday assured to help reconstruction of various structures damaged during Genji protests earlier in the month if Nepal made a request. So if Nepal want, we can go and help it. So this is India's neighborhood first policy in IR. Just remember this is going to be helpful. Another news from Indian Defense is coming. Indian Armed Force, Indian Air Force, legendary workhorse MiG-21 to fly into sunset on September 26 after 6 decades of service. So MiG-21 fighters, which has been serving the Indian Air Force for almost 6 decades. They were inducted in 1963. They were first supersonic fighter jets that India had. Now what we are doing, we are giving a break for them. We are making these fighter jets to have a retirement, right? So they are first supersonics, very, very important. And this is the backbone of Indian Air Force. In the crucial wars of 1965, 1971, 1999 and 2009 Balakot terror attacks, and recently Operation Sindoor, MiG fighter jets have really helped the country. So MiG-21 fighter jets played a very crucial role and it has been operational since 1961. First supersonic cruise missiles, first supersonic aid jets, and they have played a very, very crucial role. We are going to fly past and decommission them because they have already served beyond their age limit. So this is one thing, the workhorse that carried the pride of nation into skies and released a tribute video showcasing its storied history. So this is one important thing they can ask in science and technology. Just whatever we have highlighted, please go through it. So, if cricket is allowed, why not pilgrimage to Pakistan? Sikh organizations and political parties urge the government to reconsider the decision barring visit to Nankana Sahib, the birthplace of Guru Nanak in Pakistan. They call for reopening of Kartarpur corridor. So this is important. Nankana Sahib is the birthplace of Guru Nanak. So the thing is, post the Sohal Pahalgam terror attack, all the contacts between India and Pakistan were stopped. So in line of this, what Indian cultural people or Indian pilgrimages are asking is, we should be allowed to have visit to pilgrim centers because cricket is allowed. Why can't we allow the so-called pilgrims moving from one state to other state? So this is what they are asking. So in this context, just know this can be useful for GS paper 2 or GS paper 4, relations between two countries. Cultural, C to C, people to people relationship, business to business relationship, people to these relations, that will be useful. So these are the things that is important, ladies and gentlemen. All these clippings are important from today's newspaper. No need to load everything or no need to read everything. No need to write also. You just do one thing. You go to this Telegram channel, Dhanu's Do It Now. If you type it, you are going to get it. So through this link, you can download this articles. Just go through it. This is going to be helpful for everyone. This is the way to prepare current affairs, ladies and gentlemen. Right, we'll be making weekly updates also. But for now, today's ASTRA series, today's current affairs is this. Today's current affairs is this. So I will be making out weekly updates also from today. So this is going to be very, very helpful. Please download that pics and go through it. Whatever we have highlighted, that is important. Thanks for joining. Have a great day.